You might notice that I'm only 20 or so minutes into my ProveIt session, and I'm not ready to wrap up yet. I actually have one more thing. So HiveMQ has been working on something special. I'd like to invite our CEO, our co-founder, my friend, Dominic Obermeyer, up to the stage. And while he's coming up, I'll play a video.
HiveMQ Pulse is a next-generation distributed data intelligence platform, empowering businesses with real-time, actionable insights. With a flexible architecture built on the power of MQTT and designed to support a unified namespace approach, HiveMQ Pulse unifies and contextualizes data across the enterprise for smarter decisions, exactly where they matter most. With HiveMQ Pulse, project teams can unify data management with advanced cataloging, transformation, and governance for consistency across the enterprise. Gain real-time insights by acting on data in motion for better decision-making. And enable distributed intelligence, enhanced by AI and ML for smarter decisions at the source. We can help you manage, transform, govern, and derive insights from distributed devices and systems, even in resource-constrained and high-throughput environments. With HiveMQ Pulse, your IoT data is always accessible and optimized for impact, powering a unified namespace, delivering actionable insights, enabling distributed intelligence, and ensuring your data is AI-ready. HiveMQ Pulse is now available in private preview. Join us in shaping the future of distributed data intelligence. Visit HiveMQ.com to learn more and apply today.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. So we're incredibly honored to that Walker gives us the stage here, that we are now announcing the launch of a product we've been working on for the last 12 months. We are very humbled to work with the largest manufacturers in the world, a big chunk of Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 2000 companies, the largest logistics companies in the US, the largest energy companies in the US, and also the biggest pharma companies in the US, and so on. And what we saw is all of them are building a unified namespace architecture. Some call it unified namespace, some build it and don't even know it's a unified namespace. But they all are building architectures, what we've seen at this conference all over the place. And there's really three problems that we saw in really any customer we work with. And the first is discoverability of data. Once you integrate all of the systems, how do you actually discover what you have available? Especially if you are in very complex environments. All our customers have complex environments, different stakeholders. They have IT people, OT people, there's business people that need to be convinced. And you need to show the value at some point of time. So what I've heard in many conversations with you, this is also the reality you're in. And it's very hard today, still with all these technologies, to get access to data and discover data. So the question one needs to answer is, okay, the data is here, but what is actually here? What data can I use? And the second thing is data governance and context. So once you have the data available, the very next question is, okay, but how can I use it? Like, how can I unlock the value out of this? And the third thing is constantly generating insights. Like if you have the data somewhere available, this is step one. But data alone, just being somewhere, doesn't provide any insight. And so the problem, what we saw with all our customers is, they have the data now somewhere in a unified namespace, but how to build upon that, how to generate the insights continuously and where it's needed. Sometimes it's needed on the shop floor. Sometimes it's needed in the cloud. Sometimes it's needed everywhere. And so we teamed up with SIs, with customers, with partners, and also other vendors to say, okay, how can we solve the problem? And everything what we do at HiveMQ here is built on open standards. We founded the company in 2012 because we were disappointed about all the proprietary solutions out there, and we were thinking, okay, there must be a better way. There must be a better way if you want to integrate, and open standards are the solution. And we've built up upon MQTT. We had specify MQTT, standardize upon MQTT, and build all our products on top of the MQTT technology. And we believe innovation is driven by open standards. Open standards eventually are going to win. And the manufacturing space has been slowly moving compared to many other industries, to be very frank. But I'm very, very glad to see, and like this conference actually proves it, and no pun intended, that there's really a big, big industry who wants to change for open standards. So what we are launching today, HiveMQ Pulse, what you see in the video, is the very first product that's completely built on open standards. It's built upon MQTT, upon GraphQL, REST, SQL, DTDL, and all of the, let's say, acronyms you might hear. HiveMQ Pulse will support that. It's a true open platform that's being used for building and managing a unified namespace. And the second thing is it's built for a future-proof deployment. What it means is everybody who's building a unified namespace today is building the backbone, the digital backbone for the next, let's say, 20, 25 years. And we don't know yet what technologies will be there in 20 years. It's impossible to know. There will be new applications building upon that namespace. And I think also when you saw Walker's keynote today, you saw like, I mean, these are old concepts, quote unquote old, and now the industry is just picking it up. And even in the last 20 years, so much has changed. The concepts didn't change, but the underlying technology changed. And so what HiveMQ Pulse allows you to do is actually maintain and create a one namespace, not multiple namespaces, one namespace enterprise-wide that's future-proof and you can maintain. It's built for an evolving UNS. You don't need to get things right the very first time. You just need to get started and build a use case upon that. And one thing what we've seen, once you are building a unified namespace, it's viral. Other departments, other parts of the company are picking up upon that until you have this digital backbone. And we have many examples with our customers where a small project somewhere started, and then suddenly the whole enterprise a few years later was building upon the same unified namespace technologies. And HiveMQ Pulse is that backbone that allows you to build on this. And the other thing is, and this is something what we believe is the future of the unified namespace. HiveMQ Pulse allows you to create a distributed unified namespace. This means you can have the same unified namespace in one site, in 10 sites, in 100 sites, or even up to 1,000 sites. Most of our customers don't have so many sites. So the largest manufacturer we work with has 300 sites, but we work with energy companies that have more than 1,000 sites. And so HiveMQ Pulse allows you to manage all of this at any scale, from a proof of concept up until the largest deployments in the world, all of the same software. And now, this was the marketing part, but we can go to the next slide. HiveMQ Pulse, in a sentence, if you take it away, it's a distributed data intelligence platform that transforms unstructured data into actionable insights, anywhere and everywhere. And Magnus will now show a demo. It's the very first time, nobody have ever seen a demo in public. It's the very first time where we show the product. And so I hope you're as excited as I am.
I'll touch very briefly on our architecture that we've been building slowly over the last half hour, a little bit more. Just to show that this is really where Pulse comes into play. It's this idea of augmenting that unified namespace with a unified query and discovery layer, with a distributed architecture of compute agents and capabilities. I'm getting the 2-minute warning, and I planned 9 minutes for a demo, so we're going to have to curtail it slightly. I have the same disease as Walker does, which is I talk too long. Sorry, Walker. Sorry, this says demo. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so let's flip over. Ooh, I have some things selected here. So this is HiveMQ Pulse. This is the new tool that we've built. I'll go through and walk through a couple of the most interesting features in the short amount of time that I have. I could walk you through how I build a namespace from a series of open standard templates by creating a whole namespace with those templates or with reusable components that I build myself. But I think it's actually more interesting to discover the conference namespace, the namespace of the conference we're actually sitting at. Because most of our customers aren't starting from scratch. They already have components out there. So let's go ahead and discover a namespace. You'll see this is ProveIt Virtual Factory Online. I've got some credentials in here, and I'm going to go ahead and start discovery. while that's happening, good thing I got connection established. While that's happening, what's happening in the background is I'm actually listening to all the traffic that's going through that broker. I'm listening to not only the topic structure, but actually I'm interpreting the payloads to understand the context, the meaning of the data that is going through this unified namespace. We see now that enterprise has popped up here. I actually hit my 5,000 topic limit. More people are sorry, the 5,000 topic limit that I'd selected. More people are publishing than when I was testing this earlier. And I can go through and browse the namespace that we've all become very familiar with, Dallas, Press. And right now, this might not seem all that significant, but I actually have the ability, let's select one of these, Press 103. Actually have the ability to assign additional context to these nodes as I walk through. So if I go into Press 105, I can see I've got my line here. And even things like, if I go into this OEE calculation, we all know OEE is a percentage, and so HiveMQ Pulse has actually determined, well, if that's a percentage, then my most useful data type is probably a float. And so I've discovered my unified namespace, and I'm now able to build it out. I want to do one last thing, just to show that this is a distributed architecture. So I'm going to skip through here. I'm going to use a link to get to this temperature value. I'm going to bring my unified namespace, my data model, my information model here together with real data. So I'll actually sample some data here, and I'm now seeing data values come through. I might do a transformation, something like selecting a transformation script, Celsius to Fahrenheit here. It's a very easy demo. And it's going to take a second, but what's happening in the background is a whole series of different distributed components are actually coordinating to now start transforming that value. What you might notice, though, is at no point have I said, I need to go to this piece of compute and this node in my edge to start this transformation. I've declared what I want my unified namespace to look like. I've declared what I want my information model to look like, and the underlying infrastructure has done the hard work of figuring out where I want that to run and what component I want that to run. Now, there is, of course, infrastructure. I've got, actually, I think this in particular is running on this filling line 1 agent. But I have this distributed infrastructure, and I just tell the system what I'd love my unified namespace to do. It's a declarative approach, and the infrastructure worries about making that happen. I'm completely at time, so I'm going to drop here. I'd love for you all to come to our booth and get a further demo. We'd love to spend more time with you going through this, and of course, come meet with us and talk about whether this is applicable. Got Q&A here.
Thanks, guys.